Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Sarcastic Barman and welcome to my channel. We're just doing a bit of mirroring today. We've got a lovely video from Jimbojo. He did an interview with me not long ago and I thought it was really good. And I thought I had to share it with everyone. So watch the video. If you enjoyed it, head over to Jimbojo's channel. The link will be in the description below. Check him out. He's done a few interviews. He's part of the Shills team. And yeah, well worth a check out. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Sarcastic Barman, how are you? Thanks for joining me.
I'm good, thank you, Jim. How's you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, thank you. I'm very pleased you managed to find time to join me. I wonder if you'd mind explaining to people watching who maybe haven't heard of you exactly who you are and how you describe what it is you do.
Well, I'm the Sarcastic Barman. I have a bit of a laugh making videos, calling people stupid, calling them out on their stupidity, really. I wouldn't say debunking, though I do throw in a few science facts and things that I've picked up over the years. Yeah, and have a bit of a laugh and a few drinks with it, really.
Yeah, very nice. And where can people find you? Where should they go in order to find your content? Do you have Facebook channels, Discord, YouTube, things like that?
I'm obviously on YouTube as the Sarcastic Barman. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm on there, the Sarcastic Bar, because Sarcastic Barman was taken. That was a bit of a downer. And I'm on Discord floating about in most of the main rooms. Usually you can find me on there as Sarcastic Barman.
Okay, that's great stuff. Now, I've been watching your channel recently as I've been trying to sort of catch up with some of the material that I've missed before. I'm really impressed about the work that you're doing, and actually I will just take this moment to tell people watching, you really ought to get over to Sarcastic Barman's channel right now and hit the subscribe button, because the material that's coming out, it's getting better and better. It started brilliant, so I don't think you'll regret it if you get those notifications. Head out there now.
Thank you.
Now, you're quite welcome. I mean, it's part of the reason I brought you on is because I've been very impressed by the work you're doing, and I think other people should see it. So the wider the platform you get, the better, really. Now, is there any sort of projects or upcoming events or things that you'd like to share with people before I get on with the main part of the interview?
I've got a couple of ideas for videos to come up over the next couple of weeks. We thought we'd look at the crazy people who think pyramids were built by aliens and have another look at evolution. As much as I enjoy Flat Earth, I've done a few Flat Earth videos recently and it just drains your brain, the general stupidity of most of them.
I can believe that. It is very wearing out. When I recently had to sort of edit up an Orphan Red video just for a little 5-minute fun video, having to hear that laugh 100 times in a row while you make the cut drives you slightly
I've done a 4-hour live, I've done 2 of a 4-hour live stream videos, and by the end of it I was ready to just lie down and die.
Oh, I bet you were climbing the walls, absolutely. Now, when did you realise that this Flat Earth debate even existed?
God, it's been quite a while, to be fair. I think it was a Professor Stick video from many, many moons ago that first made me think of the Flat Earth, because he covered one stupid one, and people were bugging him then to do further Flat Earth videos, and I was just like, can people really believe this? And then I found a couple of other videos, obviously found out about Mark Sargent, Eric Debay, and a couple of the other nutters. And then, yeah, eventually transitioned into a couple of the more debunkers on it, found about the Facebook page, and just generally thought, these people can't be serious. And yeah, as time's gone on, I think most of them aren't serious, and it's quite amusing.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. At first, my belief was that you had a few people who were conning a large number of people who genuinely believed. And actually, the more I look into it, the more I think most of these people don't appear to have that firm a conviction in it. They just get very angry about you questioning it. I mean, there's a huge religious contingent to this as well. So I suppose a lot of people have a vested interest in saying it must be true, because it feels like otherwise they're, I don't know, dishonouring their God in some way. But the conspiracy theorists seem to fall into the same bracket as well, is that most of them, when really pushed, no, they don't seem to actually have very good answers for this stuff. They just speak with a lot of confidence on the matter.
I think that's one of the biggest ones. And you mentioned Orphan Red. She's one of the biggest just crap babblers that there is, because she'll just salad and word waffle and go on and on and on. throwing in these big words and making you think, oh yeah, she sounds clever. And you sit down and actually listen to what she says, and it's garbage.
It makes no sense at all. I agree. She likes to throw in words like quantum, you know, or describe things like the Copenhagen interpretation, and then she'll completely ruin what it actually means. And then when someone very kindly sort of steps in with a video, like say Logical Troglodyte, and says, actually, I'm not sure you've got that right, she then goes off the deep end and DMCA strikes them, bans them, cuts her from the server, things like that.
There was myself, the Casual Spaceman, Just Drunk the Drunk Monk. We were in one of her live streams, watching her live stream, so we were in the chat talking. I got muted within 30 seconds of being in the chat. I think all I said was hello to Logical. Just Monk tried to ask her a couple of questions, got ignored. I think AB Science got muted as well. There was a few of us in there, and she was just basically muting her, ignoring anything that questioned her. And yeah, it was, you couldn't make the crap up really, because she was letting people get away with slightly racist comments. They were okay, but anything questioned, there was a bit.
Yeah, well, I noticed there was a clip from a video I was watching where she'd allowed, I forget what his name is, but he came in and basically said some fairly anti-Semitic things straight away.
That was the one where we were in the chat, we were waiting.
That's the one, is it?
To start, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it? I can't remember now, but she says hello to him in the video and obviously sees his comments and just laughs. I'm like, oh.
Carries on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I think that's a good exemplar of the way that she behaves, which is she's extremely duplicitous. She tries to carry forward one message of how she behaves, but then when you actually examine her actions, they don't really seem to line up with that.
No, she's a spoiled brat who doesn't like not getting her own way, really.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now, I'll just double check. What is your position? Do you believe the world is a globe or the world is a flat plane?
It's an oblate spheroid.
Excellent stuff. And how long did it take you to come to that position, or is it something you've essentially always been able to verify for yourself?
I'd say I've always believed the world was round, but obviously once I started seeing the flat earth videos, let's check this out, because when I was a kid I used to be into aliens and all that jazz.
Sure.
I thought, oh yeah, we'll check this out, and there is nothing in a million years that makes me think, oh yes, it must be flat. I mean, I was lucky, I grew up in North Wales, so I got to go up the mountains. I was living next to the beach and the sea all the time. And we can see, if you're on the beach, I can't see the beach on the other side of the estuary. But if I go up to the castle at the top, I can. Well, because there's a slight curve. It might not be much, but there's enough there that we can say, yeah, it's definitely curved.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Anti-Flatter made an interesting point with me the other day, which is because he lives on, obviously, New Zealand, a set of islands. If he goes to the top of a mountain, it's very easy for him to actually physically see the coast curving off over the horizon, and he can see the top of mountains beyond that poking out, which you can't see the bottom of. An observation made in real life without any complicated mathematics. That can only happen on a curved surface. It's extraordinary to me that people tend to miss that thing, but perhaps if you live in Ohio or somewhere where it's flat and level and you don't see the coast much, it's easier. I don't know.
I think it's living in places like that would actually be better for you, because you can go out and see stuff. I think most seem to live in cities or more rural areas where everything's built up. They don't go to the beach properly, and when they do, it's like, we're going to this lake and we're going to do a laser test. You don't understand what the laser test is showing, or why the laser at one end of the beach is shining a circle 6 foot across.
Yeah, it does seem surprising. They rarely research even the equipment that they're using, but then I suspect that that's done intentionally. There's always this element of finding where the vagary is in your measurements and exploiting it to your own advantage. It's the worst kind of cherry picking, really.
Absolutely, definitely. There was a video on Globebusters today. I was going through theirs looking for next sort of video to look at, and someone was using Google Earth to show that the 60th parallel is all sorts of different distances away from the geographic South Pole. But the geographic South Pole on Google Maps isn't listed as 90 and 0. It's like at 85 and 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not exactly right. So of course it's 500 odd miles off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is like
proof.
Yeah, well, quite. It's like in the old days where you used to be arguing with someone that they hadn't put their observer height into a curve calculator. And it's such a simple thing that makes such a huge difference, and they seem to intentionally fight against that one thing that they know is going to make their numbers look bad all of a sudden.
I don't think half of them know how to use a curve calculator, because you watch them use the basic curve calculator, not take refraction into any sort of consideration, not take their viewer height into consideration, the size of the object they're looking at, what camera lens they've got them they're looking at, what the weather's like, and how much they're going to be able to see.
Indeed, it's just basically the most basic geometric model without any of the fine variables in, and they seem to have not realised that it's not a complete model, and consequently it's easy to get bad numbers out of it. It's like all computer programming, shit goes in, shit comes out.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I don't think half of them understand what a model is. I think they think that's the thing they buy at the flat Earth conventions.
Yeah, the thing that Mark Sargent carries around with the little sun and moon on the top of it. It's embarrassing, frankly. Now, why did you start doing what you do as a result, and when did you start doing it?
Well, I think I started, the trailer for my channel went up around the start of April. I just thought, stuff it, I'm doing this. I didn't have a proper camera at the time. I didn't have a proper microphone. It was all done straight on the webcam built into the laptop, and you can quite easily see the difference in quality once I got a camera. And as for doing them, there's two big reasons for it. One, I got fed up of being blocked on the Facebook official 250,000 subby crazy flat Earth group because I'd mention things or show them pictures of the flat Earth with the sun plotted out, and they didn't like it because it showed too much. And another one more close to home was because my brother, he unfortunately passed away last year.
Oh,
and him and me had a good thing. We'd always talk about these sort of things and say, oh, have you seen this video? Have you seen that video? And we had a good laugh going on about some of the crazy flat earthers that we find, or the anti-vaxxers or the anti-evolutionists, just the general crazy people that you'd find in the world. And I thought, stuff it, I'm going to have a go at this and put my 2 cents into this argument.
Oh, well, that's a very touching tribute that you've made to him. I think people will be nice. I think it's a nice thing that you've done there. Do you have any idea of who you think are important people within this movement, either in terms of their influences on you or their effect on the community? And I mean people on either side of the debate here, really.
Oh, for people with influence on me, definitely Professor Stick. He's one of the first ones I started watching. Skeptic as well.
Sure.
But people like Simon Dan, he's always been good. I do like his content. But some of the small ones coming up, Leah's Logic, AB Science, Logical Troglodyte, they're really good videos, good quality on them. And it's getting that new people coming up. Obviously, Creaky Blinder is one of my favourites on there. But from the other side, I do like people like D Marble. I think he's one of the few that I actually think he believes what he says, and he comes about it in the right way. He tries to do experiments and things, and you get people like Phuket Word who are just, they're nuts.
I mean, Phuket Word, I can't decide if he's genuinely crazy or a con man, because he does seem to use what I think of as neuro-linguistic programming techniques, certain ways that he phrases questions. He uses yeah and okay a lot at the end of his sentences and tries to positively reinforce things. So I suspect he is intentionally trying to sway minds. I just really haven't worked out what his motive is yet. He's either trying to save souls or make money.
I just think he's crazy.
No, fair enough.
Crazy con man.
Yeah.
Obviously, he does make some money out there, and I think obviously living, because he's in Thailand basically, isn't he?
That's right, yeah.
The money he earns doing the videos and things goes a lot further over there.
Absolutely, things are definitely a lot cheap. I've been out there, you could buy a packet of cigarettes for 12 pence. I was quite impressed. Yeah, I know.
It's on my list to go to.
Oh, it's definitely worth a look. It's an absolutely beautiful country, definitely. It's lovely to drive through as well, because the scenery goes from Switzerland 1 minute to the West Country of England the next, to the Sahara Desert the next. It's just an extraordinary place.
Does sound good. Put it, it'll go on the list with everywhere else.
Yeah, right. It's a big bucket these days, right?
Oh, the list just gets longer and longer. People say, oh, you need to go here, you need to go there. I'm thinking, I haven't been to half the places I want to go in the UK yet, let alone everywhere else in the world.
Absolutely.
I mean, a few years back, we spent a month going around the north of France. And even then, I don't think that was enough time just for the north of France. I mean, it was great. I got to go to the beaches of Normandy and stuff like that.
That's nice.
We quickly popped into Belgium. We saw a couple of World War I trenches. So I like my history stuff. And I thought, oh, it's really interesting. Yeah, a month wasn't enough time.
No, I can imagine. I've been up that way myself, only a few days. And yeah, there's too much to explore to get it done in a limited time like that. You could spend a lifetime learning about it, really, couldn't you? Now, how do you think the flat Earth movement, as we see it today, came around? Because obviously there was like a zetetic movement in the past, and there's like it's existed as a thing in small pockets of history for at least the last few hundred years, and the idea's been around much longer than that. But the little wave that we're in at the moment has been around for somewhere in the last sort of 5 years. I just wonder if you had any idea where you think that came from.
Oh, I think it's all fueled by YouTube and people's wanting to feel special, if that sort of makes sense. People don't like thinking that we're just this insignificant speck that floats through the universe. They want to feel special. They take their religion, they take their, it's horrible to say, but they take their lack of understanding of the world around them, and they go, oh, God did it, so it must be like this in the Bible. And yeah, but I do think it's all fueled by YouTube, people encouraging their beliefs on there, and basically using YouTube as an echo chamber, because they can ignore the comments, they can ignore the feedback if they so wish. Yeah. But it's mad how it keeps going like this, and eventually it's got to implode because they can't ignore the evidence forever. But I had a great conversation a couple of weeks back with some Jehovah's Witnesses coming into the pub, and I was chatting to them. They don't think the world's flat. They think the world's round. They even think the world is several billion years old, which I always thought from a Jehovah's Witness point of view, I thought, no, they're going to be hard lines, 6,000 years. And they're like, no, we believe in science. We just think that God created everything at the same time, and there were dinosaurs about, but we don't believe there was a big flood in the way the Bible has it. There's nowhere. It's all stories and synonyms and things like that, and
it's allegorical
lessons from it. Which I think, if you're going to do religion in any way, to just take the lessons is better than taking it all as the dogmatic faith.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when taking it dogmatically means you can lead to such curious misunderstandings as thinking it says the world is flat, and then insisting that every observation and every other person in the world is wrong because, well, I hate to reuse a cliche, but my holy book, you know?
I love that line.
That's cool. Hard Logic's got a lot to answer for, doesn't he?
Oh, we do. Have you ever seen the film Dogma?
I have. The Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and that's done by Kevin Smith, wasn't it? It's amazing.
It was, yeah, but you've got the most, I think the best bit in that for religion, where the 13th apostle comes down.
Yeah.
Who was written out the histories because he was black, and obviously everyone in the church was white.
That's right, I remember.
To say it's not about having faith, it's about having a good idea.
Yes.
And that's what they should, if they're going to take anything from the Bible, take the idea of being nice to each other, not being twats. Take the good aspects, which they do in a way sometimes. They take some of the good aspects, but then they ignore anything that they don't sort of like the wearing mixed clothing, slavery, and anything like that. Oh, we don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's in your holy book, and you're going to take the other bits. Have it one way or the other, or just take it as a guide.
Yeah. The thing is, I think that people tend to use holy books as a bit of a one-man echo chamber. They'll sort of keep hunting through until they find the thing that confirms the view they have already, and anything that disagrees, they will usually find an apologetic for quite easily, and never really subject it to any critical reasoning.
You know, very true that they cherry pick all their evidence they want, really, and someone will tell them that something they don't agree with. Oh no, don't worry, that's contradicted here by the Bible, because that's the old bit and this is the new bit. In other words, it's been translated that many times, it's just cocked up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how you could trust a book that's been translated through so many languages. I often find it confusing when people will point to the King James Bible when they're Americans, and you would sort of think, surely you wouldn't be keen on having a King of England's individual version of the Bible, but I don't think logic comes into it too often, if I'm that honest.
I don't want to sound horrible about some of the Bible bashing Americans, but yeah, they can be a bit crazy when you do all that.
Yeah, afraid so. Now, do you think this is bad for society as I do, or do you think it's more benign, slightly trivial maybe?
Oh no, I think it's a very bad thing for society, because these people that are blindly following these flat earth leaders, if you want to call them that, they're not paying any attention to science. They're encouraging their kids to go, no, science is wrong, it's all scientism, which is a phrase that does my nut in. But they're basically not looking into it themselves, and they're relying on their parents to say this is right, that's right. They're ignoring what teachers have to say. Some of these kids could be the next sort of Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawkins, people like that, and they're being discouraged from a path in science just because, to quote you before, my holy book.
Yeah, quite. Now, where do you think this movement may end, or if it doesn't end, that it at least sort of recede to?
I'm hoping it's going to end in the next 2-3 years, because they can't go on blindly telling the lies that they do. But as NASA comes out with more stuff, they grab onto it and go, oh, look, they've said that the moon is in Earth's atmosphere. Well, yeah, it is, but that's not what it means. Yeah, but they said it, so they've got all this wrong. What else have they got wrong? And I'm like, oh, God's sake. So the more that we discover, the more they sort of try and grab onto. I think until we have cheap available space tourism, that's when it'll start to die down. But then they'll just say, no, it's CGI, you're just in a vomit comet plane, the usual sort of crap like that. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, they'll tell you that the windows are LCD screens and you're not
That's
even
the one, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a reasonable point. That's what I'm concerned about. But I also suspect that once a large amount of the population have had the opportunity to actually see it for themselves, there's no way a movement like this can really support itself.
Well, it's difficult. We hope not, but then you still get people who don't believe in evolution. But even though we've got the bones, the experiments, the DNA, because they just go, no, scientists are liars. It's like, oh.
Yeah, you might be right there, rather depressingly. So how do you think that people from the general public should respond to this? And do you think people from within the sort of the community that we're in that are fighting back, do you think their response has been good, or they should have a different approach maybe?
I think the response has been good from our side of the community. I would love to see more collaborations, more of us getting together, not like the Flat Earthers do with their big, we're having a Flat Earth conference, but more getting together just to plot out new ideas, new things, what can we do to help? Because at the end of the day, we're here to try and help them, show them why they're wrong. And yeah, I think that would be good from that standard point. As for general public, best thing I can say for them is pay attention in school, go to college, watch educational stuff, proper done, BBC 4 things, History Channel, Discovery Channel, go to your library, read a book, anything like that would be awesome.
Absolutely, wise words indeed. Now this is my final question. What is your favourite argument in favour of the globe Earth? Now it might be that you point to a few experiments that fit together, or it might just be one big obvious one that you like to point out.
Oh, not so much an experiment. My favourite one is just being able to go up to the top of a mountain and go, look, I can see further. Or know that where I used to live, I could see Snowdon. And then I could also go over several miles to the other side and go, yeah, I can still see Snowdon, and just watch it getting smaller. And it's simple observations like that that don't work on a flat Earth model, but are perfectly demonstrable of a globe Earth model. And I don't get how they don't understand this.
Yeah, Aaron Ra points out a very good example of where he was driving across the Badlands, I think it was in America, over a very large flat sort of area, and he watched the top of a mountain appear first, and then the rest of the mountain slowly come up over the horizon.
Yeah.
And then when he went back, it disappeared in the opposite direction, which is only possible on a globe. It's not something you could see on a flat plane. It wouldn't be possible. You'd see all the mountain all the time, except for anything obstructing it.
Well, I think on the flat Earth model, it should appear as a small dot and just slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you should see the top and the bottom at the same time, whereas you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, misunderstanding perspective seems to be something flat Earthers like to do. Yeah, well, quite. Look, this has been a fantastic conversation. You give me some really insightful answers. I'm really glad we got a chance to do this, and hopefully, as long as the video has all worked out and I cut it together, I think this is going to be a really enjoyable episode. Now, before I let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to do any shout-outs for, or a bit of work you'd like to point out, or a resource that you think that people might find useful? Basically, this is your opportunity to just shill away if you want to.
Oh, shilling away. I'm never any good at this because I never remember anything I've lined up for it. So, I mean, 90% of my videos I do well half cut, sat at the bar and just go along.
It works for you.
The result is, if you can use Google properly and realise what each site is and put several references for it, Google can be an awesome reference.
Absolutely.
Also, just general knowledge. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, I've asked AB Science several questions because he is someone who's in the field of science. And for shouting out to people's videos, obviously AB Science, Leah's Logic, Just the Drunk Monk, God, I can't even think of names now. all the big ones, all the small ones, just everyone. And yeah, I never know what to say on these bits.
Well, I think I'd probably add to go to Where the Sidewalk Ends Discord server, because
Yes.
you'll find everybody on there. And it's a really good place to start. There's a huge community growing there. I think that a lot of people can get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah. Well, even if someone's not in Where the Sidewalk Ends, someone will probably be able to direct you from there to what Discord channel they normally hang out on.
Absolutely.
So yeah, normally that's a good space to stop for most people.
Definitely. It's a brilliant starting point, I think. Right, well, look, thank you very much for coming. I'll say goodbye to everyone who's watching now. Thank you all very much for coming. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to get more content, then hit the subscribe and the little bell, and you'll get updated on everything I do as it comes out. I think this has been a really enjoyable interview, and I hope you do too. So I'll say to you guys watching, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are. I've been Jimbojo, and this was Steve Baller Interviews. And I'll say goodbye again to you, Sarcastic Barman. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been brilliant.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to see more of your videos.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, you can come back on the show anytime. We'll try and arrange it some point in the future as well, okay?
Well, thank you very much.
No problem. I'll see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye now.